It's not great. It's fine. You know, it's fine. Anyway, do you like my sweater? It's so cute. Hi, hello, welcome. Let's get cozy. Let's talk about books. As you know from the thumbnail and the title, today we are going to talk about all of the books that I read in the month of September. And you know what? I know it's a little bit late in the month, but in my defense, I am filming this on October 3rd. I know the schedule might be a little fucked up and it's a little late for me to talk about September, but you know what? You know what? It's the schedule. It's not me. Am I making the schedule? Yes, but it's the schedule. It's not me. In the month of September, I read 10 books. Look at the tabs. Let's get into all of them. Let's roll the tape. I started off the month reading the entire Hunger Games series. These are my first ever reading vlogs on this channel. The very first video that I posted was reading the Hunger Games, the original trilogy. I am so excited that I started this beautiful project with such an amazing series. I started with Hunger Games. This is book 1. I have all of my in-depth thoughts on the books in that vlog. I have 2 of them. Part 1 is the original trilogy and part 2 is the spin-offs, but I'm gonna quickly go over it just to kind of give you a little bit of an idea of what I thought about all of them. I always thought that this was such a big deal and a big book and like a monster of a book. I was very pleasantly surprised of how easy these books were to read and to get through and to just consume. I never wanted to put them down. I loved every single second of them. I am not gonna get into what the Hunger Games are about because I feel like that's kind of like common knowledge. Like if you are alive, you know what the Hunger Games are. So that would be kind of ridiculous and gimmicky of me to actually explain to you what the Hunger Games are about, but just know that this book really surprised me. It was very easy to get through. It was very hard to put down, very captivating, and you get so much more than you get in the movies. So you get kind of like these extra scenes, all of the little things that you get in here, they all relate through the books, and you find so many more Easter eggs when you actually read the books rather than watch the movies. I haven't yet watched the movies after reading the whole thing, and I am really excited to get into that. I feel like October is the perfect month to go back into the Hunger Games and just leave in there. In my brain is such an autumnal series to read and to watch. So yeah, started the month off with the Hunger Games. This is book 2, Catching Fire. This is my favorite movie, so my expectations for this book were really, really high. I ate this up, and it's basically half of this book is just setting up for the second game, setting up the world even more, and the characters and the relationship between Gale and Peeta, and you get so much more of the love triangle and like District 13 and all of that. And then the second half of the book is the actual games. Only reading this will you properly understand what actually goes on in the second games when the rebellion is formed. How is everybody connected? When did they all get into the rebellion and who knew what and whatever? Like, this is the full picture. I was so excited to read this. I am so happy I consumed this book. I cannot even explain to you. This is my second favorite in the entire series, and this is the final book in the original trilogy, The Hunger Games Mockingjay. I think this was a little bit hard to get into. The most, como se dice, boring one out of all of them. I still loved it. I think I gave it a 4.5. I really did enjoy reading this, and I really loved to see how everything wrapped up and how everything actually went down. And you know, I was really curious if the books would convince me to hate Gale, because you know, when I was watching the movies, you cannot not love Liam Hemsworth. This was kind of the point where I was like, okay, I understand why we're all collectively Team Peeta. And that concludes the original trilogy. And then I went into the spin-offs, and the first spin-off is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. This was my least favorite in the whole Hunger Games universe, just because of the mental games that Suzanne Collins was playing with the readers. Like, she set up this world in such a way that you would relate to Snow and understand him and root for him and cheer for him. And there wasn't like a specific point in the book where it shifts. Like, he's a hero, now he's a villain. It's kind of like page by page. You reach a point where you're like, I'm reading from your perspective and I should be on your side, but am I on your side? Maybe I am just a little bit, but I'm not. Like, it's a little bit gaslighting you into thinking that what he's doing is right, when in reality it really is not right. I had a hard time being in this world from his perspective because I genuinely think he's a morally black character. After reading Sunrise on the Reaping, which is like the story that will villainize Snow drastically for everyone. Like, whoever thought Snow had any piece of humanity in him, after you've read the Sunrise on the Reaping, you are going to hate him forever. Seal the deal, we hate him forever. It was a little bit uncomfortable to be in here, and all I was thinking while I was in this story, I was like, I want this to end. How many more pages until this ends? And I was kind of like skimming through the text. I like really wanted this to be over. It was good, and I think that a book that makes you feel so deeply and so diversely in all of these emotions is a good book. So I gave it 4 stars. And then last but not least, Sunrise on the Reaping. This was my favorite book in the entire series. I don't really want to get into it because I already feel tears kind of coming to the front of my eyes, and I don't want to cry. I really don't want to cry because my makeup looks so good. So I'm gonna pretend like I didn't feel so many things when I was reading this. Like, I didn't almost die of crying and I couldn't breathe, I couldn't see. Like, that was my 13th reason. I have chills all over my body just thinking about the ending of this book, but like this book in general. Everything that happened to this man, unfair. Like, what the fuck? This is diabolical. This book is diabolical. We are following Haymitch in this book, and these are his games, and he was in the 50th Hunger Games, which is like this big anniversary where they did something different. Like, every 25 years they do something different. It's bigger and greater and meaner. Haymitch was against 47 other kids and he won. Pain. The next series that I read this month was actually an audiobook read. Listen, read, whatever. I count audiobooks as reading, and if you don't, fight with the wall. The next series that I listened to was This Woven Kingdom. I genuinely don't know the names of books 2 and 3. I know that book 4 came out on the last day of September, on September 30th, but I didn't get around to it because I was already listening to something else by that time. So I think it's going to be my next audiobook listen, just so that I can conclude that series so far, because apparently a book 5 is coming out, and I was shocked out of my mind. I genuinely thought this was a trilogy. So I was like, oh my god, it's a complete series, like everybody loves it, let me just get into it really quickly, because I was curious. You know, I read the Shatter Me series by the same author 2 years ago. I think it was my first audiobook listen of all time, like ever. Besides the point, but so far I've only read the first 3 books in the series. Not a lot happens, just vibes, no plot. If I would have read it physically, I think I would have had something against it. Like, I think I would have hated it with a passion because truly nothing happens. But as an audiobook, it was okay. It's fine. It's not great. It's fine. You know, it's fine. For me, it was a 3.75 situation. Like, every single book was a 3.75. I wouldn't go out of my way to recommend it. And, well, I guess I could tell you what it's about, right? So in book 1, we are following Eliza and Cameron. And Eliza is actually the heiress to a long-lost kingdom. Her parents died when she was really, really young, and she's now forced to be undercover, and she is basically a slave, and she doesn't really interact with a lot of people, but it's very clear that she's educated, she has manners, and she has like this posh vibe around her, and people around her can tell that something is going on with her. Cameron is the prince of the kingdom where the action is set in book 1, and they have an interaction on the street, kind of like the beginning of Powerless by Lauren Roberts. If you remember how Peyton and Kai meet, that's sort of similar to how Eliza and Cameron meet. And book 1 is about them kind of like thinking about each other and that interaction, and you'll see how the story unfolds. It's interesting, it's nice. It was just not my favorite, but it was a nice listen. I am going to continue the story. I hope book 4 will be better, but I wouldn't say the hype that I've seen so far, I don't think it's quite worth it. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion. And now that I think about it, I forgot to talk about the actual first book that I read in the month of September, because I actually started it at the end of August and I finished it in September and I completely forgot about it. It's the last book in the Prison Healer series by Lina Noni. Book 3 is called The Blood Trader, and this is another book that I was listening to on my audiobook app. This series is very much a young adult, action-packed, filled with plot twist and turns and so many things sort of series. And in vibes, it's similar to The Cruel Prince. It keeps you on your toes. It's really like, it's a page turner. I mean, I listened to it on audio, but I'm imagining like if you read it physically, it could potentially be a page turner. Like, I really wanted to know what was going to happen. And one thing about audiobooks, and one way that I rate audiobooks, is if they keep my attention. Like, if an audiobook cannot for the life of me keep my attention, it's not just my brain wandering about, it's also the audiobook not doing a great job. It's also the book not doing a great job at storytelling and captivating you. This book and all of the series did a really great job of captivating me. In book 1, we are following Kiva, who is a teenager imprisoned in the worst, highest security prison in the world. You go in there and you die in there. And she got imprisoned when she was very young, and her father was a healer, and she learned everything that she knows from him. So in this prison, she's actually the prison healer. So kind of like a doctor sort of situation. The one thing that's keeping her alive in there mentally is that the rest of her family that's still alive keeps sending her these messages of, we're gonna get you out, like we're gonna get you out of here, we're gonna save you. She keeps fighting because she's waiting for her family to get her out. And one day, of course, in this world we have a rebellion, and the rebel the rebel queen gets into this prison. She is told by her family to keep her alive, and she goes into these trials to try to keep this woman alive. And it's really interesting. Like, the one thing that I will say about these books is that the plot twist at the end of every single book, they are going to keep you entertained and keep you wanting more. I think for me it was a solid 4-star. Like, every book was a 4-star. It wasn't the best thing that I've ever listened to, but it was good. Like, it was a good series. I really, really enjoyed it. I would recommend it. I actually would. I don't have it in my favorite books of all time in every genre, just because, like, in that video I only included my 5-star reads, like books that consume my brain every single second of every single day. I didn't include The Prison Healer in there, but just know that it is a series that I would recommend. Okay, I feel like I've been talking too much about this. Let's move on. The other series that I finished this month was Powerless series. This is Fearful, the last novella that concludes the Powerless trilogy. I mean, you can't really tell because I have the reversible dust jacket, but it is Fearful, I promise. Do you want to see that? Do you not believe me? There it is. I have this beautiful edition that they sell in Amsterdam. I read this book in a video that's coming up next week. So I'm not gonna say a lot about this book because I don't want to reveal my thoughts. And I also can't say a lot about what this book actually is about, because that would be a complete spoiler to the entire trilogy, and I really don't want to spoil it for you. Like, if you have not read the Powerless series, please read it. It's one of my favorite series, and it's also the series that got me back into reading almost 2 years ago. I absolutely love with every fiber of my being this series, and I was very excited about this novella because it's the last book that we're gonna get in the series, and I know that the author said that she would keep writing in this universe, just not with these characters. But I had really high expectations of this novella, especially because the first novella in the series, Powerful, that's one of my favorite reads of last year and favorite reads of all time. If I think about those characters, I'm going to cry. The way that book made me cry, illegal. So my expectations for this book were high, very high. I'm not gonna say if this book met my expectations or not, and I also can't say what this book is about, but I can tell you what Powerless is about. We are following Peyton and Kai. Peyton is ordinary and Kai is the enforcer, the one person who is tasked with killing all of the ordinaries. The trilogy follows Kai and Peyton and their story together. This is the last book in the series, and in this one we are following Kai's brother, Kit. And I'm not gonna tell you who the main female character is because that would be a spoiler. Please make sure you are watching next week's reading vlog where I'm reading this book, and there you can find out exactly what I thought about this read. The last book that I read in the month of September is Love Arranged by Lauren Asher, and again, this is part of that video that I was talking about, the one that comes out next week. So again, I can't really tell you what I thought about this, but I can tell you what this is about because for a change, this is a standalone. This is the only romance book that I read in the month of September. Autumn calls for fantasy, but I could not have at least one romance book, and this is the one that I chose for this month. It's Love Arranged by Lauren Asher. This is the last book in the Lakefront Billionaire series. This book follows Lily and Lorenzo, and Lily is the people's princess, a very loved, very sociable, open book. She loves color, she loves expressing herself, everybody loves her. She owns a flower shop in this small town of Lake Wisteria, it's what it's called. And Lorenzo is this very broody, people hate him and people have such bad opinions of him, and he is running to become a mayor, and he doesn't really have a chance because people don't love him, people don't like him, so they end up fake dating in order to get people to like him. And the reason why she agrees is because she really can have the other guy who's competing to become a mayor win. Something is going on that she really needs Lorenzo to win, and they end up fake dating. Again, I'm not gonna say what I thought about this book, you can find that out next week, but this concluded the series. This is the last book in the series, and I will tell you, this didn't really feel like a series. This felt more like a standalone, and it's great. Like, if you only want to read this book, you absolutely can. You don't have to read books 1 and 2 in order to get to this one, but you know, from a series you kind of expect to get more of like the found family and like the rest of the characters and kind of wrap it all up. This wasn't really the case. This felt like a standalone. And that concludes all of the books that I read in the month of September. We honestly had a great reading month. Was it my best yet? No, but I have really high hopes for the month of October, because if you have not watched already the October TBR video where I pick the books that I'm gonna read in the month of October from my TBR jar, is already on my channel, so make sure you also watch that. I'm pretty excited for the month of October. Make sure you watch next week's reading vlog as well to see what I actually thought about Love Arranged and Fearful. But that's it from me for this month. Let me know what you read in the month of September and what books you recommend that I also read. I hope the book that you're reading right now is the best book you've ever read. It's a 5-star, it's floppy, best book ever. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. And without further ado, I'll leave you to reading.